Hey everybody, it's Dr. Abby Medcalf, and I'm coming to you today at lunch. We're going to try lunchtime Mondays and see. I've had some folks write in and tell me that they do watch the videos, but they don't watch them live, and they want to comment and say stuff, but they can't because they're working. So we're going to try a little lunchtime action and see if that changes things up for everybody. And today I'm going to come at you. I'm always about, right, making your relationship easy, making it easier at the very least. And today I'm coming at you with how to change your language to change your relationship. So here's the deal. We speak over 16,000 words a day. How do you like that? The University of Arizona did some research a couple years ago, and this has been replicated. We speak over 16,000 words a day. We express ourselves that way. And then depending on your age, occupation, and whatever else you might be doing, you are writing another 2,000 words a day. So basically, there's about 18,000 words a day that you're expressing that are coming out of you. And I want you to think about how many of those you really think about. How much of that just gets said? You walk in the door, hey, honey, I'm home. How are you? I'm fine. Kids, what'd you do at school today? Nothing. You know, those kind of throwaway conversations we have all the time, but that lead to a lot of misunderstandings, miscommunications, resentment, anger, just those simple little throwaways all the time. And with all those words coming out every day, if you can have a few rules to be a little more precise, a little more thoughtful, I can help you change how you communicate and what's coming back and forth across. So I'm going to give you my five of my top tips for how to communicate more effectively, how to change your language, just make these subtle changes. Okay. So number one, of course, is just figuring out, well, actually, before I get to number one, is figuring out what's your agenda. You know, if you're in a pissy mood and your husband comes home and you decide that what you're going to be doing is being pissy, then that's your agenda and you're not going to communicate. Good luck. Well, you're going to communicate. You're going to communicate that you're pissed and that you're annoyed and resentful, and that's just going to create that conversation. So I just want to be clear that you should be clear first about what's your end game. What are you trying to accomplish in any conversation? Most of us don't even think of that. We're on autopilot. We're just going, we're talking, and we don't even think about what we're trying to get across. But so I'm going to assume you got good stuff going on in there and good thoughts. So let me get to my five now. So my number one thing to change your language is to get rid of the all or nothing language. Those are words like always, never. Don't use those. Stop it. So, you know, you're always nagging me. You never give me a minute to finish my sentences. You never help me in with the groceries. You always criticize, whatever. These words. So first of all, what happens when you say that is the other person thinks you're lying because they know that they don't always, and trust me, or never, and they're coming up right away with all the ways that they don't always or never. They're thinking of the one time they didn't nag you, or the one time they did let you finish your sentence, or whatever that is, right? So that's where they go right away. So as soon as you say always or never, they're thinking, oh, you're melodramatic, you're lying, you're going off, you're making too big of a deal, whatever they're thinking, and they're discounting whatever you say after. So get rid of that language. And I hear couples use it all the time. I know it sounds kind of simple, like don't say always or never, but in my office, which you see behind you, this is where people come. In my office, pretty much every time I meet with a couple, I would say it's very often, it's not every time, but it's often that one of the other of them will say this always happens or this never happens. So get rid of the all or nothing language. Really make that go away. Make that not part of how you talk. Okay, that's tip number one. Tip number two is to get rid of the word but when you're talking. I'm not saying you can't speak about your bum. I'm not talking about that but. I'm talking about get rid of the word but, the conjunction. So, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I think this. You're discounting whatever just came before. You're saying that you weren't really listening, and you're negating it. You're saying it's not true, no matter what they said. So the person you're talking to immediately feels discounted, disregarded, dismissed, and they're not listening to whatever you're saying now after the but. So it's a conversation stopper. It's a halter to any conversation that's going to happen. It's going to halt it. Instead, I just want you to use the word and. Well, I hear what you're saying, and I was thinking this. I was thinking that. When you say and, you're adding, you're adding to the conversation. You're putting something with it. And that's what makes people feel included and feel like they want to be part of the conversation with you. It's such a simple thing to do. You'll realize that you use the word but a lot now that I've said this, and you're going to be watching your language. It's incredible. You'll see that it's there quite a bit, and you got to be careful of that. Okay. So tip number 3, this is one of my favorites actually, is not to say anything that could be answered with just good or fine. You know, how was your day today? Good. You know, how you feeling? Fine. In counselor speak, by the way, we say fine is effed up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. We say that's what it stands for. Haha. So don't say fine. And so instead, you want someone to give a true feeling. Mad, glad, angry, sad, overwhelmed, shy, content, thrilled, excited, whatever. There's tons of feelings. You might get one of those cute little feeling sheets from the internet. I should have had one ready. They have a little faces on them with all the little expressions underneath. You can use one of those if you want. I don't really care, but start using something so you actually have to identify a true emotion, not just good or fine. One of my favorite tools to use for this, it's really easy, is you can just ask someone, hey, on a scale of 1 to 6, how do you feel? Just do that. How do you feel? Scale of 1 to 6. 6 is you feel great, amazing, happy, and content in your life. 1 is your life sucks and you're miserable. And what happens, and the reason you use a scale like 1 to 6 and not 1 to 5, 1 to 6, is because wherever I guess, I have to come down on one side or the other. There's nothing neutral. There is no neutral middle number. If I give a scale 1 to 5, people can say 3, and that's your neutral number. If I say 1 to 6, they have to choose. They have to come down on one side or the other of I'm feeling really crappy and I hate my life, or my life is feeling a little better. And you'll definitely get more information. You'll get better information. Saying good or fine is giving the number 3, having that 1 to 5 scale with the number 3, that's the equivalent of saying good or fine. 3 is the numerical equivalent of good or fine, really, when you think about it. So you want to force people into one side or the other. It's a great way to do it. It's so easy. It's especially great with kids as they're trying to explore how they really feel. I'll also just say to people, tell me how you feel. You can't say good or fine. And see what else they come up with. And often they will surprise you. Or like I said, show them the little smiley face sheet. Or now you know to use the 1 to 6 scale. You can use that for how are you feeling, or what did you think about X, or how am I doing as a wife, or whatever. You can use it for a lot of stuff and have people answer on the scale. Okay. So that's 1, 2, and 3. My 4th tip of my 5 tips is, drumroll, no name calling ever. 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 Did I mention ever? You can't call your partner or someone else a name. You just can't do it. You can't call them out like that. It's not okay. You cannot put this toothpaste back in the tube. They will never forget what you called them, ever. So no matter how much you apologize, no matter how much you say something different, it's, to me, a subtle act of violence to call someone a horrible name, to call them something that's mean and cruel, and it can feel like getting slapped. As anyone who's been called a name, I have, can tell you, it feels like you're getting slapped, and sometimes you'd almost rather get hit because it's easier to draw the boundary and say never again. I know lots of people said, well, if I ever got hit, I would leave. I would never stay. Well, why are you staying getting called, all these names? This is not a way that we treat each other. This is not, again, a way that we can ever get past in a true way. People remember, they never forget. You remember if someone called you a name. Do not use it in the conversation. It is you losing control, and you shouldn't be losing control of the people you love or you want to talk to ever. So if that's happening, there's something bigger going on, and I want you to go to therapy. I want you to talk to somebody. I want you to do something about it and not use those names anymore. If you've ever called someone a name that you love, I don't need you to feel like crap for the rest of your life about it. I need you to move on and not do it again. And again, do whatever intervention you need to do so you don't do it again, because it's pretty horrible. Okay. That's 4. And number 5 is one of my favorites, and that's to use we, not you. So I say this a lot. You have to think of the couple as you and your partner as a shared resource. You are one resource. So if the person in your couple has a problem that they're working on, that's your problem too. You might think it's not, it is, because it's pulling away from the resource. If they feel depleted, enervated, angry, resentful, overwhelmed, whatever that is, your couple, that's coming out of the couple energy. Trust me, they're not going to have the energy for rock star sex that night. They're not going to have the energy to tell you how great you are, cook your favorite meals, or whatever else. The bandwidth is gone. So think of things as a we. This does not mean that you take over the problem. That's called codependency. Don't need to do that. But it does mean that I want you to really think and use we language. So it's not, how are you going to solve this? So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about this problem? It's, well, how can we solve this? What can we do? You